are live. Hey guys, I'm Wolfie, and today we are going to watch the final press conference of the San Francisco 49ers of the 2024 season. Welcome, Wolfpack. Thank you so much for joining me here today. This is huge. I mean, this is a big one. Okay, it's good. I have not seen anything, but based on the firing of Nick Sorenson and the firing of Brian Snyder, thank God. It seems like there's gonna be a lot of changes for this team, and I'm really excited to see what comes from this team and what the new what we got planned and what Kyle has to say, what John Lynch has to say about everything. This is crazy. So this is big. This is bigger than any other previous press conference out there. This one's gonna be, I feel like it'll be a little bit more noteworthy. I have not seen anything yet. I've tried to stay off the internet, try not to focus on anything because I do not want to spoil it just because I just feel it. You know, I feel that vibe about this press conference, that it's just going to have some weird wrinkle to it, and we'll just see how it goes. But as per usual, we are sponsored by water. Water is really good for you. Honestly, I wouldn't be here today without water. Water is amazing. It's good for your skin. It's good for your organs. I mean, look at this. This is luscious skin. This is not a filter, by the way. Okay, this is all me right here. All right. And I know some of you out there are not even drinking a cup of water, just getting that soda and all that, and just getting all that stuff right there. But hey, get out there, drink a cup of water. It's good for you. And again, like I said, I wouldn't be here today without it. So thank you, Wolfpack, for being here. We're just go ahead and jump into it. Let me drink some water to prove to you. And no, this is not 7-Up. All right. Okay. Jumping straight into the press conference, it is long. It is 36 minutes and 19 seconds. So this might be the live itself. So be sure to like the live, guys. So if you're new here, I appreciate you. Before we get started, every like helps this channel grow. Every like puts it out there, helps with the algorithm, etc. Seriously, I cannot do this without you. This channel means everything to me, and it's because of you that this channel is even going anywhere. So thank you so much. Be sure to like live, and let's go ahead and jump right into it. Kyle Shanahan. You look a little sassy in this photo here, in this still. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Let's do it. Okay, let's do it to it.
On behalf of Kyle, our families, our organization, just wanted to let the folks in LA.
Hope you're in the house.
California guy. Know a lot of people down there.
I can see him. I can see him.
Directly affected already, and I'm sure there's going to be more. So our hearts do. We've been sitting in, what we call our mind meetings, talking about all our players on a closeout, and your mind keeps drifting because, man, it's rough down there. So our thoughts and prayers do go to the folks and people of LA, and that things calm down. So start with that, and then we'll open up for questions.
Sure.
Kyle, can you talk about your decision with Nick and kind of what the overall plan is now for the defense coordinator position?
First of all, it was a real tough decision. I love Nick as a person, and I love him as a coach. Still trying to hope to keep him on board in another capacity because he's a guy I don't want to lose. But just where we're at really as a team, where I think we need to go. There's a lot of big decisions ahead for us, and as hard as it is for me to come to this conclusion, but I feel there's some options out there that can end up being a better option in the situation that we're in for our team. And when really it comes down to that, the position I'm in, regardless of anything else, that's always the stuff I got to go with. So it was a real tough decision for me, and I'm still hoping that we can keep Nick here. But I do feel there's some other avenues that in the long run will be better for the 49ers.
There isn't a single 49ers fan. Sorry, there's some single 49ers fans out there, but majority of 49ers fans are like, this is not a tough decision, dog. This is easy as shit. Get a new guy. Especially, I like what he said, like there's better options out there. There really is. There's a lot more better options, better opportunities based on the research that I've done recently. I'm glad that he is fired. And if we kept him, like I said before, I wouldn't have cared as much. This is like he's a rookie defensive coordinator, whatever. But I do like the fact that he's accepting the fact there's going to be better options out there. This is a great year for defensive coordinators, and this is a great opportunity. And there's a few out there I actually enjoy. There's I like Eberflus a lot. I like Robert Saleh, of course. Those are my two favorite ones out there. And yeah, so let's go ahead and continue on.
Are there internal candidates for both of those coordinator spots?
There are candidates, yes.
Can you say who they are? The internal ones.
The internal one, I'll give Staley a shot, just talking to him when he's been here. There'll be a lot of guys outside the room too.
And just the back-to-back years, you fired your defensive coordinator after 1 year. Do you have to go back through the process of this? I know both different situations. Were there things that went wrong in the process to find these last two guys?
I don't believe anything went wrong in the process. I think I'll tell you what, it's a I think more opportunistic or easier process talking about it right now, whatever the date is today. It's a little bit harder in February, which the last two were in. Just
True.
Being the last team to finish last year and before that, being the second to last team to finish makes it a lot different. So there's more opportunities out there, and I've been looking into all of them.
Would
That's the price of winning, man. Sometimes if you're winning all the time, you get into February, you get last pickings of coaches, dude. So I understand where he's coming from when he says that. You're missing out on the big opportunities, but now that we're not going to playoffs, there's some big opportunities here. Really, especially again, this defensive coordinator crop is big. So I do like what he had to say there. He does have a good point that in February you kind of have slim pickings of who you want as a coach. Personally, I did hear that he just said that Staley would have a top opportunity at the job. Please God, no. Please God, no. I don't want Brandon Staley out there. I'm going to be cynical from the start, man. I am not going to he might prove me wrong. Right? He might prove me wrong, but I'm going to be cynical from the start. Okay. I'm just going to fuck that guy. Okay. Some say he was great. He was a great defensive coordinator in 2020. However, I'm not saying 2020 is it's a complete justification for this sport, like a complete excuse. But in 2020, you had less training camp. It was a lot more constriction due to the COVID situation. Those could have been inflated numbers based on that. Like Brandon Staley could have just been better for that emergency situation. And especially you got Aaron Donald as your D tackle who does most. I don't see it, man. And then seeing what he did with the Chargers, man, was brutal. The decisions he's made was brutal. I'm just not for it, man. I'm not for Brandon Staley. I understand where he's coming from. Probably likes the guy, wants to give the guy a shot, but no, I'm good.
experience being a defensive coordinator being brought to you this time?
Yeah, I think some of the stuff that, just where we're at, some of the decisions that we got to make and things like that, I think having the experience of going through this before, building things before, I think is definitely a bonus for me, and it helps me with some stuff. So that's stuff I will look into, but again, you always, regardless, you don't want to put just any handcuffs on your decision. You're going to always try to figure out the best one, and so you got ideas going into that, but this being so early, I'm going to have an opportunity to talk to a number of guys too, so we'll see what that leads us to.
Would you consider
Schematically,
Nick?
You've always kind of stuck to this is who we want to be defensively. Is that still the scheme you want, or are you more open to potential changes this
I
time?
mean, I love the scheme that we've had here. I think it's one of the hardest things to go to when you got the right guys in the right spots. But I do think people adjust to schemes, and I think you have to adjust too, depending on your personnel. And I think that was a tougher thing for us this year. Just going into the season, it was a little bit harder than past seasons. And some of the injuries we had, I think, made it really tough for Nick. And I thought he got better trying to adjust and do different things. But I do think that's something that definitely, I'm not saying you got to change schemes, but you have to have the ability, the history, and the knowledge of how to change some stuff up when you're in some certain situations. And I think that we do need that more going forward.
Is Nick under consideration for that special teams coordinator spot, or is Nick
Yeah, that
Sorenson?
would be a consideration, yes.
And just to be clear, he's been let go and you're hoping to bring him back, or no?
I just told him he's not going to be the defense coordinator.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, so I mean, he's under contract
Got it.
still, and I'm really hoping that he'll come back. But that's got to be something he and his family feel good about too, and the exact role that we end up carving out for him, which I'll work on here over the next few weeks.
So it doesn't sound like he's going to be the special teams coordinator. It just sounds like he's potentially going to be hired as a special teams coordinator, and that Kyle's going to give him an opportunity to probably be the special teams coordinator. Personally, I don't want that because I checked how he was in Jacksonville and what he did there. Every stat that I looked at, everything I looked at was all bad signs. It was like bottom 20 this, 19th in this. It was terrible as Jacksonville special teams coordinator. He could just not be a good coordinator at all. That really could just be it for Nick Sorenson. But so there is no guarantee that he's going to be the special teams coordinator. So at least that's good. That's a bright spot. It does sound like they're going to do their due diligence on who they're going to hire as coordinators. but they're just opening up the window saying Sorenson was just no longer the defensive coordinator. So he wasn't fired. He was just demoted to whatever potential job he ends up taking in the end here if he decides to stay. But personally, whatever he was doing before, go back and do that. Whatever he was doing before this year, go back and do that. You were fine at that, man. Whatever you were doing before that, dude, you were great. I didn't hear your name. There was no complaints about you. And for the most part, we went to the Super Bowl with you in whatever position you were at before. I don't remember what it was. So maybe just go back to that. And I don't want to see him as special teams coordinator. So it's no need to freak out being, hey, he's going to be special teams coordinator, because that's not for sure or not. It does seem like this 49ers team is taking this very seriously, just based on his response already, 4 minutes, 20 seconds in. I like it so far. I like it. They're not saying for sure this guy is the dude, this guy is going to have this job, this guy's going to have this job. It does seem like they are open to many possibilities. This is different from any other year with Kyle Shanahan. Seriously, it does seem like Kyle's taking responsibility this year, and so is John Lynch, and they're all like, they always say, oh, we look at everything. We look at everything. This actually seems like they're looking at everything this year, and I'm actually optimistic. I'm actually very happy about it. And from what I heard, and I might be getting ahead of myself here because they might talk about it, but Robert Saleh, I heard, is going to get first dibs at the defensive coordinator job. That is awesome. That's a good sign. I like everything they're doing so far. They got rid of Nick Sorenson and they got rid of Brian Schneider, and they're moving forward. So just come back to this. We don't know what Nick Sorenson's doing yet. We don't know what's happening with Nick Sorenson yet, so there's no need to freak out. If he became special teams coordinator, I would be disappointed. I wouldn't like that. But I mean, it would be better than Brian Schneider. So there's that. And he might be better at this new kickoff scheme. So we'll see how that goes. Again, that's not for sure if he's going to be a special teams coordinator.
Challenging is that for him to go from being the defensive coordinator to being
he's not going to be a special teams coordinator yet.
Being the defensive coordinator.
Sport machine.
I don't know. I haven't done it before. I'm sure it is a challenge. It has to do with, is that something that you want to do? Is it something you're comfortable with? I know our building would be comfortable with it. I know our players would be comfortable with it. This was a tough year, but no, Nick didn't lose any respect or anything like that from any of our players or our coaches. And I think if you talk to anyone, whether it's with you guys in the media or it's just one-on-one, he's got a lot of respect from people here, and everyone does think he's a good coach. I spent these last 2 days having exit interviews. It's been, to go through these 2 days where all I do is just talk to people and you talk to everybody. Lots of good feedback on Nick, and
feel like HR.
The guys would be real excited if he was here next year.
Is there any?
Players do defend this guy, by the way. Players, it's all about word salad and what are players saying. It does seem like players actually love Nick Sorenson and actually love whatever it is that he brings to the table. It's definitely not defensive scheme. We can agree on that, right? But it does seem like the players back him really well compared to other defensive coordinators. Didn't seem like that with Wilkes, right? This guy, though, it seems like they really do like this guy and they want to keep him around. And Kyle seems like this guy as well. So this seems like we want to keep him because we like the guy, and he did do some good things like last year, like I said. So I understand there's a stigma with Nick Sorenson right now because of what he did as defensive coordinator, but we have to be realistic here and understand that whatever he did last year, it didn't affect the team in a way where it prevented us from going to the Super Bowl. And our defense was still relatively good, and Steve Wilkes was a defensive coordinator. So there's still like, you got to meet in the middle here and understand that Nick Sorenson last year wasn't so bad. Sorry, the year prior to I guess because technically this is last. But you know what I mean. Last year, not this current year that's currently going on. So as long as he's not a coordinator, I'll be happy with that. I'll be happy as long as he's not a coordinator. I'll meet you halfway, Kyle. I'll meet you halfway, the players, because the players love him.
Uncertainty about Trent Williams and playing in 2025 for the Niners.
Trent's doing well. He's he had a bruise in the ankle joint, and it probably took a little longer than anyone anticipated. But sometimes that happens. And the good news is it's taken a positive turn. Trent's mindset is where it always is, and he's still very interested in being a great player that he is. And I think he's still got a lot left in the tank. So Trent's committed as ever, and we love having Trent Williams a part of us.
Kyle, you mentioned options out there for the DC spot, also special teams coordinator. What are you looking for both spots?
I mean, I'm looking for a guy who I think will fit with our team the best. I like to sit and talk to guys about our personnel. I want to obviously talk to someone about their plans schematically and what they like to do, but that's all great. What do you plan to do with our team? And that's what involves certain people. I mean, in terms of when they look at what we have, what they think we need going forward, what we got to go get. And so I want someone that kind of meshes with what I believe in. But I also believe in that you got to fit to come up with the best thing possible that fits our situation right now. So that'll be talking about our personnel, the roster thing, a lot of things like that, and what their plan would be with it.
And would you be open to someone running a different scheme from the past seasons?
Yeah, I'm open to anything.
Brock,
Yeah, I mean, especially a lot of people want to complain about the wide nine that's not very good. They'll say the wide nine's been figured out, but then they'll say Nick Sorenson is bad, and they'll just. I really don't like that, man. It drives me nuts when people do that, where it's like that you can't have it both ways with this situation. Wide nine was great with Steve Wilkes. Wide nine was great with D'Amico Ryans, Robert Saleh. Then that one fucking year where it's bad, suddenly wide nine is not bad. The wide nine is figured out. It's the end of the world, while Nick Sorenson is just the worst in the world. It's like, was it Nick Sorenson that just didn't do a very good job of using the wide nine, or was Nick Sorenson just using something that everyone has figured out, right? So I'm glad that we're open to the idea of potentially using a new defense. It just really depends upon the defensive coordinator. And it does sound like they do have an idea of how they want to interview this guy. And I do like what he had to say about that, of course. Papa J says, wonder how much they overlook his coaching skill with him being a likable person. Being a likable person is part of being a coach. If you're not a likable person, no one wants to play for you. No one wants to back you. No one wants to be there for you. So being likable is definitely part of it. However, coming back to what I said prior to this, I understand that he was not a good defensive coordinator. I don't think he's going to be a good special teams coordinator. But whatever job he was doing, I don't remember what he did. I should look it up, honestly. He was great there. The players loved him. He got involved in some way. They enjoyed it. So whatever coaching he was doing prior, he was great at. So they probably love him for that coaching that year. We went to the Super Bowl. That's probably what they love him for. But we're too busy looking at what happened this previous year and being like, this is the coach he is in this position, so he is this coach in every position. That's not fair, and that's not how that works. Some coaches are good as head coaches. Some coaches are not good as head coaches, but good offensive coordinators. Some good coaches are good at linebackers coach, but some coaches are not good at defensive coach. It all matters about how you care about – it matters how well you're good at coach at certain positions. Bill Belichick was never likable, nor Bill Walsh. That's false. They liked who he was as a coach and how much he fought for them. They backed him 110%. They were winning coaches, and they showed that. There's different ways of being a likable coach. It's not always about do I get along with you? It's about how well do you help me winning? How good are you at winning? How good? Like, there's other ways to be a likable coach. It's not all like you have to be a good guy. You know what I mean? So I disagree with that. Can you do a Patriots series of trying to get all the Patriots filter? We'll see how that goes. Depends. I'll let the people vote for that. But yeah, I disagree. You can be likable on certain levels of the situation. Bill Cowher wasn't likable. Maybe it's the name Bill. Hey, Bill's where it's at, man. Bill's where it's at. That's a good point. Like, Bills do tend to be the guy. Maybe everyone on the coaching staff needs to change their name to Bill. Hi, Wolfie, Papa Jade, everyone on the YouTube channel. Michael, the host. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hey, good luck in the playoffs, man, with your daughter, man. I know how much she loves the Eagles, man. Good luck. I heard you, Pat. So I'll let the people vote for that. I don't pick. I let the people vote. I'm a people type person, man. I let the people vote. So, and the one time I let the Cardinals do it because that guy was very committed. He really wanted it, and I gave it to him.
I talked the other day about wanting to get an extension done as soon as possible. Do you have that same optimism that it can get done by mid-April when spring workouts start?
Well, listen, I think what we know about Brock is that he's our guy. We have interest in Brock being around here for a long, long time. He's done so much for our organization. He's won big games,
Yes.
Had a little tougher task, as we all did this year, with some of the things that happened
That's
throughout
true.
the course of the year. We just never could string games where we were all together. And through that, he continued to lead. He continued to play at a high level. So we have every interest in him being around. The way this thing goes, these press conferences are necessary, but always kind of silly because Kyle's coaching. We spend time together all the time, and there's big issues that affect the team. But he's just getting off coaching. He's had his door shut for 2 days, doing exit interviews. We were just up, but we were talking about our players. We'll have some time here in the coming weeks to sit together and put our whole plan together. That's obviously a priority, that position, and we'll give it that attention.
When you guys last sat up there, like in training camp, one of the big priorities you said was, we have to have finishers this year. And you guys got outscored, I think, 165 to 88 in the fourth quarter. So what does that tell you about this team? What went wrong? Is it physical stamina? Is it mindset? Is it personnel schemes? What do you point the finger to?
Yeah, you don't want to have excuses. A lot of our finishers weren't out there, and then on top of it, we still had opportunities. We still put ourselves in good position, and we couldn't get it done. So we have to own that as a team. That's why we're 6-11. We have a high standard. We had high expectations. We fell short of that, and it's our job to fix that. And I know that Kyle and I are committed as we've ever been to doing just that. We don't plan on being in this place. Don't like it. It's terrible to sit home and watch something that you expect yourself to be in the tournament. And we're going to go about the work, and we're excited about the work to do just that. But I do believe we have finishers on this team. And
I agree.
We've got to continue to add to that. We've got to continue to infuse youth and good football players to this team, and we'll do that.
Sean, the last couple of us.
If you look at Kyle right here, he's mad dogging this fucking report. He's like,
Seasons have had a lot of drama, and maybe Kyle can address this too. And a lot of it, there's social media posturing, or maybe some of it has already begun. Just, is there anything as the organization that you can do to kind of mitigate that, calm it down? It just seems like it's heated up at times in the last few off seasons.
Yeah, I think every team has a certain measure of that. I think we have a lot of good players, and one of the things that comes with having a lot of good players is it's hard to feed everyone, and you got to make tough decisions. And we're certainly at a point where we've had a 5-year run with 4 NFC championships, 2 Super Bowls, and you have to go back to the fundamentals of really building that thing. The lifeblood of your organization needs to be strong drafts because it gives you young players that you have under contract. And so I think we had 7 players that were starters off that draft class, whether we expect them to be, they did, and they gained really valuable experience. I even had free agent guys like Evan Anderson who contributed, a lot. And so I think we're really excited about this rookie class and that movement. We got to continue to add to it. We have 10, probably right now 9 draft choices. We think we'll have 10 with a comp pick, but we need to continue to add to it in that way, and hope we continue to have hard decisions because we have a lot of great players here.
John, you mentioned
I do agree that this draft class is amazing, and we've gone through it before we have to go through it again. We'll do that at some point in the year, of course. Probably do it with Poggy, and probably go through it. But it does seem like people are saying like the Super Bowl window's closed, et cetera. Like we're losing these players, but this previous draft class, we nailed. Pearsall is looking like a starter. Green is looking like an excellent starter. Pooney is looking like a starter. Isaac Guerrero is looking like a starter. Mustafa is looking like a starter. Is there somebody else that we got that doesn't look like outside of that? We got Evan Anderson looking like a starter. He looks really good. Like not yet. He still has some at least a second string depth potentially there. Still rookie, obviously, but there's potential there. There's another player we got I can't seem to think of on the top of my head. Oh, who else did we get that looks like a potential starter in the future, part of this team? Anyway, there's about 14, 15 players that look like are going to be part of this team in 2026, 2027 that are really good. Really, really good. This team is just one good free agency, one good draft away from just being back in this Super Bowl contending mode almost, where like they have the weapons, they have the ammo to get back to where they need to go. They're this close, man. They got like 14 to 15 positions filled already. They just need about 7 more. One good draft, one good free agency away, man, from just fixing everything and putting the ship back in the Super Bowl contending column. So I agree with John Lynch. This is an incredible draft. Incredible draft class. So the future looks bright. I'm actually really excited. Super excited, especially about how the schedule is going to be easier this year. I'm not saying like, oh, we should have an easier schedule and, that's the only reason why. No, I'm saying there's just so many things that are happening in this offseason and the things that are coming our way with CMC coming back, IU coming back, Williams hopefully healthy, got this whole rest period happening. It just seems like everything is looking up for this season. Compared to last season, everything kind of looks more hopeful. This season looks, I understand hopeful, but more like believable. Right? Like there's a lot more belief in this next season. There's a lot more hope. There's a lot more facts of like, okay, there's a big opportunity here for the 49ers to really take advantage of this opportunity of the upcoming year and be Super Bowl contenders. There's so many things looking up. And when it comes to the off season, I have not seen a better, hopeful, believable upside, right? It's been a while. I love this offseason coming up. Hopefully we nail it. So far, we're doing a really good job. We got rid of the two guys that needed to go. Everyone and their mom wanted Nick Sorenson gone. Everyone and their mom wanted Brian Schneider gone. That's gone. That's happened. Now they're going to do their due diligence, go out there, get a defensive coordinator, get a special teams coordinator, and then we'll go from there. Again, also the draft. We're nailing the draft. It just feels so good. Like I feel good about this. I feel really good.
This is not the first year that the special teams is strong here. Widely noted, you don't take a real detailed interest in special teams. Does that need to change a little, Kyle? Can you get more involved? Do you need to get more involved?
I mean, what do you mean by I don't take interest in special teams?
Well, you say you're not watching the bigger tryouts and that kind of. I know they're offhand comments.
Let me help Kyle there. I would tell you Kyle's been.
Let's look at that. Let's look at that one more time. I want to look. I know. I'm going back to the video, but I just want to pay attention to this dude's face the entire time.
Do you need to get more involved?
I mean, what do you mean by I don't take interest in special teams?
Well, you say you're not watching the bigger tryouts and that kind of. I know they're offhand comments.
Let me help Kyle there. I would tell you Kyle spends an inordinate amount of time with all phases of our team. Special teams is extremely important in the way we construct our rosters. The time is there. Now,
there's a couple people that came in here, so I'm going to go ahead and give them the shout outs because that's what I do. Fortnite Brian in the house. Sorry, I'm not responding to comments. I'm just trying to watch the press conference and then I'll get into everything. So I do apologize. I know you're having some questions and some comments here, but just know I see you. Papa J sees you. And we're showing some love, of course. Michael, good to see you, of course. What about our tight end situation? I have no idea about that. Tom in the house. Yo, showing some love. Yo, I like the video. Thank you for your content. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I love doing this, man. I can go down the list and really get into it, man. I appreciate it, dude. I try my best, and just hope for the best. And it's like I said, it's nothing without you guys. So I thank you. Seriously, man. Appreciate you, as always. I heard Staley, I'm sure, I think you mean Staley, not Stanley, will be our defensive coach. I heard he's going to have an opportunity at it. So it's not for sure. It's just that he will be considered. So he does have a shot at it, but it does seem like they're not making any definitive answers when it comes to special teams and defensive coordinators. There is no definitive answers yet. And from what I've heard, this is a rumor, by the way, this is not a fact, but Robert Saleh is rumored to have the number one priority of the job. So that means we have to wait until the Packers are over probably. And of course, the job interviews he's going to have for head coach. Hopefully those fall through. We bring back Saleh. I want Saleh back so bad. Number one option. So I think we'll be forced to reckon with. I think so too, man. Next year's going to be dope, dude. I'm so excited.
Neither of us are kicking specialists, so we don't sit here and profess to know everything about kicking and things of that nature. But the time issue, I'm sorry to interrupt, Kyle, but he spends plenty of time there.
I just don't BS you guys.
Yeah.
You turned it around on me there. I just don't BS you guys with that stuff. But to say, we spent some heavy draft picks on special teams players, which I think is an investment. We spent some salary cap on the guys. We bring in guys like George Odom. Haven't played against fouls here these last couple of years, and that's bringing back those special teams decisions. Spent a third round pick on a kicker. Making special teams changes is why special teams is important to me, because we do work at it. But it's wasn't good enough this year. I don't put that just on Brian by any means. I mean, losing your kicker, losing your punter, when injuries do affect the roster, especially offensive and defensively, but it did affect the most with special teams. And I think that was unfair to Brian and a tough situation to put him in. But I do think it's an avenue we can get better in, and you can't change the whole thing out. And So Brian ends up being the fall guy for that, and I really appreciate him. He did have a real good 3 years here and worked his tail off and was very loyal to us and was a very good coach. And he'll bounce back on his feet and we'll be going against him soon, I'm sure. But special teams is part of football, and everything part of football is extremely important to us.
John, you mentioned a couple of weeks ago that you wanted to find some.
To make when it comes to guys that would just period. Looking forward, you have some hard decisions to make when it comes to roster changes and coaching changes, right? So there are some videos circulating on the internet from the families of a couple of players that would lead some people to believe that Drake Greenlaw knows whether or not he will be here or not. Has there been any conversation where he's been given a definitive answer of his future as a Niner?
No, we don't even know, guys. We haven't spent much time together yet. I've had 2 days with exit interviews with players and coaches. Players don't know either. And that's what's hard for players. They're under contracts. They know when their contract's going to run up. That's emotional time for players, for their families, for wives, girlfriends, whoever it is, kids, just like it is for coaches when I can't always tell them exactly what their future is going to be the day the season is. It's tied to a lot of other people.
True.
I know I've been on that side. I know wives are texting you all day asking what the deal is. They don't believe that you really don't have an answer yet. And I know what they look like when you walk home through the door and they're like, what are we doing with our lives? And you're like, I don't really know. There's a lot of things that you want to solve so fast for people. That is stressful for people sitting in our chairs, but you can't solve everything at once. A lot of things are tied together. And when you hear things like that or Greenlaw, like we're doing everything in the world we can to bring Greenlaw back. We're not into losing really good players who are unbelievable people. So we're going to do everything we can to never lose really good players who are good people. But that's also a very hard challenge, very hard. And that's something that, just talk about in one meeting. There's too many things that connect to that. Draft, free agency, roster, years, all that stuff. And it takes weeks, months to decide.
John, I think the only thing I'd add to that, the communication with the players is what's most important. And I know I sat with Dre and always have great discussions with Dre. I know about his want to be here, and I know our want to have him here. And like Kyle said, there's realities and there's tough decisions and so many factors to all those things. But believe me, the desire on both sides is there.
John,
it sounds like they really actually do want Greenlaw back. Based on that, they just haven't gotten to those conversations yet, and they clearly, obviously know. Dre Greenlaw has vocalized that he likes to be here and he likes the team. Kyle and John Lynch have vocalized for years they love Dre Greenlaw. He's an in-house player. Some people, he was a 5th-round pick, I believe. A lot of players didn't believe in him. We believed in him, and now he's just a 49ers household name. We all love the guy. We truly do. However, there is variables where even 49ers fans prior to the year were talking. I remember constant lives of talking, and I don't remember if it's some of the OGs that are sticking around that said this, but they would rather keep Banks over Greenlaw because Greenlaw was injury prone. And they're not wrong. Greenlaw does seem to have like an injury issue happening all the time. This year is kind of different just because he had that Achilles tear. With the Achilles tear, he needed time to come back, and that comes with being more exhausted, potential. You're going to be more prone to injuries that way because you're forcing the issue because your body's not ready yet. So, and that's what happened this year as well. Keep in mind that Greenlaw is, I can't imagine Greenlaw is going to get top dollar somewhere just because of those injuries, right? So there is when it comes to contracts and things like that, there's always a strategic thing. There's a cap space, right? You have to be strategic about it. We all love Greenlaw. I love Greenlaw, but we can agree, and I feel like we can all agree with this. He can't get top dollar. I don't want to say deserve because I feel like that's such a bad way of putting it, but he can't get top dollar with what his play is excellent. Excellent play. His play is amazing, but he misses games, right? And I'm not trying to say it's like his fault we lost the Super Bowl and it's like, oh, that injury is his fault, but because of his injury proneness, he was out of that Super Bowl. And some people say that because he was out, we lost the Super Bowl. So if he ends up playing again in the playoffs, he gets hurt, and we relied on him, guess what? We're screwed, right? Because we relied on him. We relied on that energy. We relied on that player. So I'm not saying like we shouldn't bring him back. I would love to bring him back. I want him back. I do. But we cannot bring him back with a top dollar amount. If he gets top dollar somewhere else, do it, man. Do it, Greenlaw. It's best for your family. It's best for your situation. And I do understand it does seem like kind of happened with Ayuk as well, where his family got involved a lot early on, kind of forced the issue. Hey, we need a contract now. We're out of here. Let's go, blah, blah, blah. When like they just lost the Super Bowl. Do you really think they're having those conversations right now? You know what I mean? So I do agree with what they're saying here, that they just got done with their exit interviews with their coaches, with Nick Sorenson, and it's like they haven't even touched that yet, right? I want to bring him back. I told Poggy, hey, I want to bring him back over Banks. It goes Brock Purdy, and at the time it was Lenore, because I don't think Lenore was signed yet, and then I said Greenlaw. Greenlaw is amazing. I love Greenlaw. I want to bring him back, but he cannot get top dollar. He can't. All right, and if he does get top dollar somewhere else, fine, that's great for him. But on this team, with the players that we have, et cetera, it wouldn't work. It really honestly wouldn't. So if he's gone, I do expect us to draft a linebacker, maybe the 4th, 5th round. There's some good options out there. I don't think we should draft one in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd round, but we'll get more into that in the offseason as it goes. But as for Greenlaw, love the guy. Love him. But there is a cap where you need to pay this guy. There is a cap. Because you got Fred, you got Nick, you got approach the edge, D-tackle situation. There's just so many variables. You can't just pay Greenlaw all this money and then him play 6 games and then he tears another Achilles, or play 6 games and then he comes back towards the end of playoffs and then gets hurt again. There are certain variables we have to consider here, realistically. You know what I mean? And I want him back. I truly do. But I'm with him when they say, like, hey, we got to have those conversations more so down the line. We can't just be like, okay, we're bringing him back, whatever money, what dollar amount you want, we're giving it to you. He's not that type of player. He's not. Texans will give him top dollar, then guess what? That's what he should get. If Texans are willing to give him top dollar, let Texans do that. I know they got Al Shire over there, but if the Texans want to give him top dollar, let them do it. But the 49ers themselves can't do it. They can't. So that's how it is.
Mentioned a couple of weeks ago that you wanted to. What was I going to go ahead, Jake?
You mentioned.
What the fuck was that? What was that?
I know our want to happen here.
Let's go back a little bit. Let's go
There's
back.
realities and there's
What
tough
was that?
decisions and so many factors to all those things. But believe me, the desire on both sides is there.
John, you mentioned a couple of weeks ago that you wanted to. What was I going to go ahead, Jake?
What was I going to say?
You mentioned that the scheme, because of personnel, was harder on Nick. When you look at the defensive line, I think the wide 9 is coming to scrutiny. How much do you view, especially in the run game, the struggles there being schematic, and how much of it is personnel?
I think it's a little bit of both. First of all, regardless of injuries or anything, this year is most disappointing to me because regardless of injuries, I feel we should have been a playoff team. And you never know what happens in there. But when I go back to the hardest thing for me this year was those 3 games I talked to you guys about. First one versus Arizona, first one versus LA, first one versus Arizona, second one versus Seattle. I thought we should have won those games, and we lost them at the end by our own mistakes, which means we would have been 8-2 going into week 11. And that was the hardest thing and then we had some real bad injuries, which were going to be tough. That's to me what made it steamroll where we didn't have a chance to make the playoffs. So when I look at that stuff, that's the stuff that I feel we got to fix the most. And is that scheme? Is that personnel? And that's football. You got to adjust. Your scheme changes when people are getting hurt, when you can't do exactly what you want to do. It happens on offense all the time. You guys are going to see. I hear it from you guys, but the offense looks different when a different quarterback gets in there. It looks different when Christian McCaffrey gets in there. It looks different all the time, and that's how defenses can be too. But you have to build it that way because it's really hard to just change something up in 3 days of practice. You got to have that foundation of how you implement it and where you think the season can go, and that's what you really truly try to build in the off season, and then in the training camp. And that's something I think we'll be better at building this off season, having a little bit more time to do it, being a little more prepared for it, because we saw where it went last year, and that starts with getting a coordinator in here who can help us map that out. And once we do map that out, it goes right to free agency and how to make sure we can get the best possible situation that we have out of the situation that we're in. and then it goes to the draft. And when that's over, all the guys are here, and then you get to work.
John, along the same.
So I'm pulling the same thing that guy just did. the one that shall not be named. I'm pulling the same one. I'm pulling a blank now, but I forgot. I forgot.
Lines. You mentioned a couple weeks ago that you wanted to find the root causes for the down season beyond the injuries. In your mind, what do you feel those root causes were?
Yeah, I think my point there was you don't just want to say it was injuries, because like Kyle just mentioned, we had games within our control.
True.
Despite those injuries, we were in position to win a lot of games. So I think you just want to dig deeper and want to look at everything. And that's what we'll do. That's part of our process. That will always be part of our process. We can go more in depth this year. I think you always try to look for the positive in situations, and there isn't a whole lot of positive not being in the playoff run. You have to make it a positive because we have this time. How are we going to use it? And I think we can focus a little bit more on where we want to go, where we want to evolve in both personnel, scheme, all these things. And that's what we'll do. We'll take advantage of the time. In a sense, it kind of energizes you to come back and have this time to really put our minds and our staff's minds together to come out with the best, to give us the best opportunity to compete going forward.
It is true, like that. This wasn't what I was going to say earlier. I completely forgot. That's gone. That thought I had that I was going to say, it's bye birdie. It's gone. But I do agree that there was games where, like, if we just had a better defensive coordinator, the record would be significantly better, despite everything that's unfolded. That's the credit I want to give Kyle. It's like there's just moments that slipped from us where we lost those games where he was right. We could have been 8-2. It could have been a huge situation. It could have been a lot better. And I think that if we just had a better defensive coordinator or just a little bit better specialty, even a little bit better special teams coordinator, we would have won more games. And that's the incredible part. And that's something I feel like we need to keep your head up on. It's like there's a culture here. There is a scheme there. There is a goodness to the core of this team that's able to overcome certain things. It's just that, like, just as we're about to overcome it and just about we're about to get that win, it slips from us. Where, like, if we just had this much better of a defensive coordinator, if we just had this much better of a special teams coach, we would have won games, right? If Ronnie Bell wasn't a fucking bum, okay, if Ronnie Bell was just a mid-ass fucking, like, just a mid-wide receiver dude, right now, we would have more wins. So it's just those little minuscule things where it's like just a little bit better here, a little bit better there, a little bit better there would have changed the entire outcome of this season. And I do agree that, like, despite the injuries for most coaches, for most teams, they wouldn't have touched the playoffs. So, like, would you have loved to make the playoffs despite everything? Sure. But there was a good thing here. There's greatness here. And it's just getting a little bit better here, and a little bit better here, and a little bit better here. We're great. We're back where we're at.
I've been doing this for a while now, and you drafted Greenlaw and Jennings and Purdy and guys that are insane competitors. Did you know going into the draft those guys were insane competitors? And how do you find more guys like that?
I can't say you always know. Like Jawan Jennings, we don't spend a lot of time watching like highlight tapes off the internet, but up in the draft, someone said you should watch this highlight tape, and so we did that with Jawan, and it was insane. It really was. It was so you kind of had an idea of the type of competitor. And I smiled.
Hey, what's wrong with highlights, bro? What's wrong with highlights? Okay. Are they good highlights? Are they bad highlights? Are they mid-ass highlights? Are they excellent highlights? What is their top potential, man? Highlights tell you good things, man. Do we back it on highlights, dude? All right? You still see shit with your eyes, right? Bagging on highlights like that? I use highlights, man. I do other things. Like I research the player and stuff like that, right? Stats, etc. But I use highlights. That's not cool, man. That's not cool. It's not cool.
When I talk about Jawan, because I love the way he plays. I love the way he competes. You don't know on every player, but I think the process, the way we include everybody, the way we pair personnel staff with coaches and the thorough process.
Hey, I
we have is
appreciate
a
you
good
anyway, man.
process. So you
Appreciate you
find
anyway.
guys
Take care,
like
man.
that. And
This is
you're
Dave
gonna
Lombardi.
rely
You
on
want to
that
go find it.
process and
You want to watch
challenge
it.
to continue
For
to
free
get
on
better.
YouTube.
What we know is when we have consensus up there, we do really well. And, we've done that and we need to continue to do that.
Kyle, do you plan to make any changes to the offensive staff? And related to that, I know Clay, you let him call plays in the last game. How did he do there? And do you expect his role to grow or shift within that structure?
I thought he did an awesome job, and Clay's role is going to be the same as it's been, which has been the offensive coordinator. He just hasn't had that title yet. I mean, Clay's done as much as anyone on offense for these last 2 years. So this is his second year doing that, and he gets better and better each year at it. Just hasn't had the official title yet, and now he'll get the official title, which he more than deserves. But it's more about recognizing what he's already been doing and doing at a high level.
Will you continue to call plays, or will you delegate that sometimes?
Yeah, I'll continue to call plays, but Clay and I have done everything here the last 2 years together, kind of a hand in hand, put the game plan in together. Yeah, I call it. Only one person can speak to the quarterback, but him, Firster, Fleury, those are the guys I rely on through play calling throughout the game. It's not like I'm just in silence there calling every play. I'm discussing it with the guys we've prepared for within the week, discussing it with the guys who are talking with their players and what they see. And it's the same thing we all did for Clay versus Arizona.
Considering what Ricky went through,
So he's official title offensive coordinator. I thought you already had the official, but apparently he's official title of offensive coordinator, and he's going to be helping Kyle call plays. And apparently Fleury's been helping him as well already. Maybe get rid of Fleury then. Maybe get rid of him because he didn't do a very good job last year helping out Kyle. You know what I mean? But if Kubiak is having a little bit more say, a little bit more room to say, like, hey, I have a little bit more of a voice and option, hey, I'm open to that. I'm very shocked that Kyle even gave him the official title of offensive coordinator. Hopefully it's not just some like, all right, here you go, man. You get an offensive coordinator. Here you go, man. I'm just going to keep calling plays. But based on his response and what he has to say, it does sound like he wants to collaborate with these situations, and he just gets the final say on the plays. So he'll the offensive coordinator, it sounds to me, based on what he said, will be able to talk to the players. We'll be able to break things down, obviously give his opinion to Kyle, especially if Kyle's like, can't decide what he wants to do. He could be the tiebreaker for Kubiak. So I guess there's something there, right? He's not giving up play calling, but it does sound like he's willing to hear other people out, and that's something. Usually it's like, I call plays. It's me. I do it. This is how it is. That's what I'm so used to. So hearing this, I know some people are like saying, well, he's still calling plays. But it's from hearing that, though, compared to what I'm used to hearing from this guy, that actually sounds like he's like open to changing a little bit. So I see you, Kyle. I'll meet you halfway.
how do you both judge the season he had?
I thought Ricky had an unbelievable season. I know the gunshot wound is the biggest, obviously, but I've never had a rookie player miss all of OTAs in training camp and have much of a successful rookie year. And it's tough to do that. For him to do that and then get into week one, which I knew he would be way behind because of that situation, and then get a gunshot wound kind of made me think that we were going to get nothing from him, and just in terms of how could we and how hard that would be on him. But how quick he came back from that, and then when he did, just to watch him go through rookie things in a live NFL game and stuff, and then have to watch him come back from that stuff throughout the year and still hit a rookie wall without a foundation of an offseason and stuff like that. I thought it was a huge success for him this year.
Yeah, and I'd agree. You have these exit interviews, and you always take away impressions. And the coolest thing, some of these rookies are typically they're just done. You think about it, long college year, right to combine training. You get drafted, you go OTAs, all that. Ricky, one thing he said to me, Mr. Lynch, I just want to keep playing because I feel like I'm just getting my feet underneath me. So that's really cool that he has that excitement, and he's going to use that. I said, now the key is you use that to motivate you through this offseason. And the best players, they don't ever take a rest. They shutter down the intensity and things like that, but they never rest. And so his mindset, I can tell, is right. He's a really good football player. Proud of the way he handled a lot of adversity, things that nobody could anticipate, and worked through it. And I think we're going to have a really good football team.
I agree, man. What Pearsall did and what he had to say, and not what he said, but like what he did, had to learn to be a rookie on the fly. We've talked about it 1,000 times over, but just to bring it up again, the dude had no training camp, no preseason. The dude was fucking shot. That's trauma already in your head. Like, it truly is. Your life was on your line. That could change you and who you are as a person entirely. He came back week 7, learned on the fly, didn't have an opportunity to really work on his craft when it came to me and Brock Purdy, just me and him. Brock Purdy had to work on scheme, had to work with the players that were ready, etc. Pearsall had to work his way in to something where they didn't have the time to really actually develop Pearsall. So for Pearsall to really do what he did towards the end of the season is quite impressive. Man, the man had 100-something plus yards. The dude looks really good. Like, I'm not lying. Like, I understood that he deserved. A lot of people were like, Pearsall is obviously a bust. I said that from the start. That's not fair. That's not fair of Pearsall, man. The dude literally had to start week 7, end up with limited opportunities to really work with the offense and on his craft with the squad. That's one of the hardest things to do, man, working on the fly. Didn't have the training camp, didn't have the reps in preseason, didn't have any of those things. Because remember, he had that shoulder injury before he got shot. So this guy, like, everyone wanted to call him a bust. This was a bad decision, terrible. I did not like the pick from the start. I criticized the shit out of the Pearsall pick. But I wasn't going to shut down the idea that he's not going to be good. I'm not going to shut it down just because I need to be right, right? I'm not going to be like, I need to be right about this pick. I need to be right about it. Why? Why would I want to do that? So that my team could be worse? Why would I want to look at it where my team is worse? I love this team. I love the 49ers. I'm going to be optimistic, even if I don't like the pick, right? And it looks like I'm wrong. Looks like I'm turning out to be wrong. Dude looks amazing. Him next to Ayuk looks phenomenal. Offensive line probably would have helped us, but considering everything that happened this year, I don't think it would have been enough. It really honestly wouldn't, especially coming into this year now with all the things that we have set. If Pearsall, Ayuk being back, CMC, Brock potentially getting his contract, Kittle coming back, I'm sure of it. Offensive line now could be truly addressed this year. It really could be a thing. And now we have the weapons and the protection. So that could have been just a blessing in disguise. So I'm not going to look at it. I'm going to look at it realistically. This man had to work on the fly on week 7 when the team was struggling and realizing, hey, we need to win games, not focus on players' potential to get better. I wasn't expecting Pearsall to get better or really kind of contribute until next year just because of that, because there wasn't a real focus on him. They couldn't afford that. So props to Brock, props to Kyle, props to John Lynch, props to the coaches, props to freaking Ricky Pearsall, man. The dude looks really good. And it just comes back to him. I don't think it was fair for people to take victory laps on Ricky Pearsall after 3 fucking weeks of practice. 3 weeks of just pure practice that wasn't focused on him. So Pearsall looks great. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for him. I'm glad. I'm blessed. I'm blessed him for surviving, man. You know, whatever you believe in, dude. If you believe in nothing, if you believe in God or whatever, he made it through a miracle. Like, he defied the odds, man. Came back from his trauma, came back from lack of training camp, came back from lack of preseason, came back from lack of reps, and did his thing towards the end of the season. Again, the guy looks great. He looks phenomenal. So, to everyone who took a victory lap prematurely, shame on you. Shame on you. Just because you want to be right about a pick. Just because you want to be right.
No, on that note, behind the scenes, we talked to Mooney kind of for the first time yesterday since it happened, and the trend and Chris Mercer and Ricky. I mean, you guys had a lot of things that are not typical, pretty brutal behind the scenes. How hard was that behind the scenes, and how did you both navigate it?
That stuff's always tough, and I mean, and the football season is so intense for everyone. I mean, it's why anyone who's really been my friend over the last 20 years realizes you're not going to know anything about them for about 7 months, because we kind of go into a hole and you get caught up in the season and all that stuff. But we all do have families and stuff out, and that does weigh on people. But like, you still got to come and you got to do your job. But like, that stuff is hard, and you watch guys go through it, and it's, I think you don't like to watch anyone go through something tragic, but you really watch how impressive people can be going through that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
it's, when you watch people really grieve and things like that, you realize that's the hardest thing all humans have to deal with. But then to watch people who are grieving so badly and still have to come into a room and then go perform at a high level, which is a whole different type of pressure. And
Yeah.
to watch them handle it and get through it, you realize how much stronger some of this stuff makes those guys, and then inspires guys around them. And it does make you closer at times. But like, I think our stuff was pretty documented this year. But there's stuff like that every year. Maybe not quite as big or as many of them. But a lot of teams deal with that stuff, and we've been through a number over these years. And just going through with Chris Verster and his wife last year, just passing away a week before the Super Bowl and things like that, and going through it with Johnny over the years, when him battling his cancer and things like that. Like, everyone has those tough moments in life, but when you have to do it through this, it is unique. But when you go through it, I think it does make people a little bit closer and a little bit stronger for going through some of those moments.
And that's this is it's a production based business, and we're paid to win games, compete for championships. The one thing I will say, acknowledging that we fell short of that standard, I am proud of this team, the way we hung together. It was, like Kyle said, there's always things, and there's things behind the scenes that no one hears about. Frankly, one of the craziest things about this job as a player, I prided myself with really knowing my teammates. There's so much stuff I never knew that I'm disappointed that I didn't, because now as I sit in this seat, so much comes to you, the challenges people are going through. But I will say that this season, I've never had anything like it in terms of the amount, the severity.
I've never seen anything like it.
Unique circumstances, and I was proud of the way our team stuck together, had each other's backs, and stayed together. And I do believe we'll be stronger for that.
John, I know it's
I just real quick, just to add to that, I agree in I don't know if you guys lost people, if you guys have, but like, grieving is super hard to get over, especially right away. It is one of the hardest things, man. It is. Grieving is, like Kyle said, just one of the hard, like, I can't really say more than that. It's almost indescribable just how much of a hurdle it is to have to push that aside and go do something else. Like, literally part of your soul passes away. Part of the family tree that you have, a branch falls off. Okay. It means something to you, like, in an internal way, and there's nowhere you can look. There's nowhere you can go, because it's always going to be there, because it's inside you. And so, like, that's really why I understand, like, if Ward losing his kids big, Trent, the Forrester losing his wife, and et cetera, like, it's huge, man. It doesn't matter how, because we don't know how close. Some people are like, oh, it's just some people will say just their grandmother. You don't know how close they were with their grandmother or their stepdad. And be like, you don't know how close they were with their stepdad. Like, we don't know these things, because to them, it's internal. It's their loved ones. It's how much they stapled, how much they stitched that person into their heart. And then that stitch is just ripped out. Right. And then you have to sew it back together. And I've lost people before. I've lost people super close to me before. And I cannot describe to you the feeling of having to overcome that. And so this team going through it with, I think there was like 4 or 5 people on this team who were crucial to this team. And I'm not trying to make that a priority, but like, that grievance affects you and holds you back. Right. But rightfully so. It's something you need to conquer. It's something that you need to face. And how you face it is justified. So that's all I want to say about that. It's sad. It's truly sad.
really tough to find instant impact offensive linemen. Does Dominic Pooney's success this year help you identify or further crystallize the blueprint, what you might be looking for
I
in
think
the
it
draft?
shows that our process worked there, and
Definitely.
I would say he really exceeded our expectations. We thought we got a good player. I think he showed us a little more than that. And, we were just talking about it upstairs. Everyone saw the real strong play, the consistent play. I think there's more in the tank, of where he can grow.
For sure.
I think the toughness, he dealt with some, he had an AC joint 1 week, and we were really questioning whether he could play on Sunday, and he practiced on Wednesday. And I've had that same injury. I always prided myself on having a high pain tolerance. That stuff hurts, and he didn't miss a practice. So I think he's got the right mindset too. And we got to continue to find guys like Tom, because he's going to be a good player for us.
Whatever you did to find an offensive lineman, okay, whatever you did, however the process was, repeat it. Rinse and repeat, okay? Because Pooney's a fucking stud. You obviously drafted him at a third round, obviously, because you don't expect he's going to be that good. But, like, dude, and you did reach for him, so that says a lot for you. Like, a lot of people thought that was a reach. Like, okay, this guy's going to be okay, whatever. He looks like an all-pro guard. He looks phenomenal. So whatever it is that your process is for offensive linemen, fucking repeat it, dude. Because that guy is a stud. Absolute stud. His future's bright, man.
Question for both you guys.
How would you assess Brock's performance this year, and how important is it for you to have him back, in time for OTAs, just given that he's the quarterback and won't go through all the process?
Yeah, definitely. It's important to have our whole team back for OTAs, and it's actually last year, it was like 8 weeks after our last game that our guys needed to be back for voluntary work and stuff, which I think is real important. And the year before that, it was like 9 or 10 weeks. So these last two, and then when we all got back, it was like you could tell we all were back, but we wish we had a little bit more time. And when I look at a calendar now,
especially who's in the Super Bowl,
until we need to get back, like I expect everyone to be ready to go and excited to really get this going and play some football. And that starts with Brock. Like, Brock is the leader of our team. I've loved these 3 years with Brock. I plan on being with Brock here the whole time I'm here. So Brock's been a stud. He's a guy I got a lot of confidence in, and just as a human. But it starts with what he's done in the field these last 2.5 years, and capable of winning a Super Bowl with them. We just almost did. And I know he's capable of getting the Niners Super Bowl.
Get it done, Kyle.
Tom mentioned 5-year
Bring
run
back
for
Brock.
As you can't, I know he wasn't saying that's it, but do you think you need to kind of set the stage for another kind of era or another refreshing, kind of what's been going on? Like, what went on there was really good, and now it shifts a little bit.
Yeah, I think it shifted in that time also. I think it was the Super Bowl in 19, and the next time we went, we had, we went in 19, we had a rookie receiver and a veteran receiver, and Debo and Emmanuel. The next time we went, we had BA. First time we had a different quarterback. 4 years later, it's Brock. I think we did have different guys on defense. I think we look at, I don't remember the numbers, but I feel like there was like 8 guys who played in the 19 Super Bowl. So I think we have already done that. And I think you've got to do it again, without a doubt. I think when you do come up short, like we did on February 11th last year, I do think in the offseason when how close that could have been, and it just comes down to a couple plays, and everything you want to think about is how to make that up, because you do believe you can do that again. And I think that's when people talk about windows and stuff like that, and I think that's how we did spend our offseason, trying to look at how we could come back and make that game up and get to that point this year and pull it off. And we took our best shot at that, and it didn't go right. And now we're going to do it again. Does that mean like every thought is to try to get to that right now? I think whenever you think that way, you're selling your organization short. You got to always think right now, but you got to think big picture too, which to me in football is always on like a 2 to 3 year time frame. And I think we've been doing that really since we've been here. We've never fully sold out for that year. And but we always want to be competitive and feel like we have a chance to do that. And
Yep.
we felt that way about 5 years in a row, and we've gone to it twice, and I feel like we had very good opportunities to win both of those games. And that's the thought process we're going to have every year.
What did you
Take
both
two more,
learn
guys.
as a coach, a GM, about yourself and about the team with the whole Devondre Campbell episode?
What did we what?
Learn about yourself as a coach and a GM.
What I already knew. That's something that we don't roll with, and it's hard to stomach. And once we saw it, we're done with it.
Question for both you guys. You guys been doing this a while together now. And you guys know the way football is. When you lose, it's a brutal game, and yet you guys don't point the finger at each other. The discussion's always like, do we have enough talent? Was it coached well enough? How do you resist the urge to fracture? How do you stay united through the pressure of this whole thing?
I think that's why I really wanted him to be here with me. I mean, John got in this for the right intentions. It was to try to put together a team to win a Super Bowl, and that's what he's committed to. That's really the simplest way that everyone says, but like in this business, you always go through hard times, but it's never just coaching and it's never just personnel. It's everything. That's why there's never a quick answer, like on anything in football. There's 22 variables out there every play. There's a long season. There's lots of scheme that's involved. There's lots of talent that's involved. There's lots of just random stuff with injuries, referees, like schedules, weather. There's so many things that goes into play. And if you're in an organization where people's number one concern is surviving, which that doesn't mean they're a bad person. There's a lot of people who don't like to move their families, and there's a lot of pressure on people in that way. But when you know the character of a person and why people get into it, like John's not ever going to do something or talk in a way just to survive. And anyone who knows how I am, like I'm not like that either. Like you're not going to make a decision just to scapegoat someone or just to survive. It's hard to in this business because it's a cutthroat business, and it's hard to tell your family to move and things like that. But that's to me that's why John is who I wanted to work with, because I knew why he was getting into it, and those are the things. And I also knew what we were going to have to go through for a little bit, especially our first couple of years. Sure. And anyone who says they're going to be a certain way, when you go through those hard times, it's human nature. It's a little bit tougher to be that way, and that's why I feel so fortunate in just the situation I am in with someone like John, with someone like Jed, with how his parents are. Like it's just I've never sat like I've had to. I can always just tell what I think from a football standpoint, and I know I'm going to get from John what he thinks from his football standpoint. It's not always the most fun answer. You got to admit a lot that you didn't do right, but that's the truth of it, and that's the only way that you can consistently overcome things and find a way to consistently be successful.
Culture definitely starts at the GM and head coach, and it does seem like the culture does do a good job of sticking together. Losing some players, losing coaches, players like those coaches, players like those players, and to stick together like they have through all these years is a testament to them. It does start with them, and it does, like, I can imagine they disagree with each other and they don't have the same opinion on things, but like the brotherhood in that situation, it does seem like they have this tandem, and I don't see that with other teams out there. I truly don't. Like there's some teams out there, I can't really think of it on the top of my head, but like GM and head coach starts with them when it comes to the culture, right? The GM gets the players, talks to the coach about the players. They keep the players or they get rid of the players. The coaches have to coach the players and win with the players, lose with the players and stuff. And it starts with them. Like they work together, and it does seem like their culture is fantastic. Their tandem is fantastic, which is keeping them from fracturing. They're 6-11 right now, and I have not seen a teammate, like a real teammate, not talking about Devondre Campbell, because Devondre Campbell was an outlier, rental, last resort kind of type linebacker that we got. But outside of that, man, everyone has been stuck together. Everyone has not betrayed each other. They have not talked shit about each other. They have not thrown anyone under the bus. It's been just a whole – Kittle being a big part of that, by the way. Kittle being a huge part of that. But that's what I mean. They drafted Kittle, right? They drafted these players who keep the infrastructure together. So John Lynch drafts these players. Kyle Shanahan coaches these players. These players stick together, and then that infrastructure is strong. And that's what we see with this team. And I'm super proud of them because they could – a lot of people, just like fans, are upset. They're emotional, and they're blaming this guy, and they're blaming that guy, and they're saying this is who this guy is, et cetera, while the players themselves who are in it are sticking together. They're not blaming anyone. They understand the situation. They're going through it. I mean, out of all of them, the players who are there are showing that, hey, let's keep being a team. We're sticking together. We love Kyle. We love Lynch. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. So if the players are doing that, why should I not as a fan? You know what I mean? So I'm proud of this, especially with the backlash that this team gets on a daily basis. I mean, all the time. Kyle gets backlash all the time. I mean, all the time from so many people. And that can be overwhelming for someone and ruin a culture. Some some content creator could say something about Kyle, and then a player would be like, well, I kind of agree with that. You know what I mean? Like just a little bit. And then that causes problems. You haven't seen that. And that's a testament to this tandem right here. And I'm super proud of that. I'm super proud of the players. This is a crazy good culture.
I would just say it's respect, and respect is earned. And, you know, we felt alignment when we came in here, and that's only strengthened since we've been here. And that's not always the case. And it's not just blind loyalty and blind trust. It's earned every year. But what I know about Kyle, he's a good person. I know he gives us, I say it all the time, he gives us an advantage, I think, every year, every week. And he's obsessed with always continuing to evolve and impress and I think when you have that, you have his natural instincts as a coach. You have the staff, people want to work with him. People want to work with us. And, you know, you gotta come to grips with the successes, with the failures, but never lose what the ultimate goal is. And I think we've been able to do that. And we challenge each other, but we have each other's backs, and that's a good feeling. And we're going to keep forging ahead and get done what we came to get done here.
All right, guys, 2 more, and we'll end it. Branch and Mayoka. Go ahead.
John, with the contract reworking for Javon Hargrave, kind of setting up the post June 1, what have you expressed to him about the plan and what you would expect from him, or whatever the case may be?
Yeah, just that, Matt. It was we had some salary cap challenges, and that was something that, allowed for the post 1. You can early designate it. And what I told Javon is he's a player we really like. Same reason we went out and signed him. That hasn't changed. He's an impactful player. We do have some challenges, and so this doesn't mean we can't compete for his services. It allows him, though, rather than waiting until post June 1 and being SOL because free agency already happened. It gives him an opportunity to go see what his market, and that may include us. So we'll get into our plans. We know Javon, who he is. He's on a good track coming back from his injury, and would we be interested in having him? Of course. Is that something we can come to an agreement on, and is it something that fits in our plans? We will see, and that's the exact conversations I've had with you.
And that happens at the start of free agency.
Yes.
Free.
Yes.
Yes. Is that different than Debo's situation?
Debo's under contract. Yeah.
You expect him back?
Yeah. A good player, and has done a ton for this organization. And we're not in the business of letting good players out of here.
All right, last one, Brent.
You just took my question.
Oh.
We're good.
I don't want to waste anything. You had to, with Armstead Juice last year, obviously different results, but that was something you had to do because of finances. Do you expect to have to do more of that this offseason?
We will see. We'll see. We do. There are realities. There's challenges. Like I said, we've got a lot of really good football players. The York family has been really good to letting us reward our players, and we've done that in a number of instances. That becomes tougher and tougher to continue to do. So we'll look at every avenue to become a better team, and we'll see where that takes us.
All right. That was the press conference. And at the end of that, we obviously talked about Javon Hargrave. It sounds like he's going to test free agency, and they're going to let him go, possibly try and bring him back on a cheaper deal. We'll see how that is. Honestly, I think he should go somewhere else. I feel like that was more like word salad, like, hey, we'll bring him back if it's like super cheap or whatever, and not trying to screw him over as a player, which is good for a player because that way it's good for players who want to come in for the organization. Like, hey, is this organization just looking out for itself, period? And when you look out for the player, man, it helps you in free agency. And if with the 49ers doing this, restructuring his contract enough to where they can cut him, I think he'd save like $14.2 million when we cut him and let him go pre-June compared to post-June. So, I mean, he's obviously not coming back, right? I'm pretty sure he's going to go to another team. He wasn't impactful, right? Like John Lynch said, I don't think he was that good. Wasn't worth it. Maybe like a way cheaper contract than what he got. I can't remember what it was, but way cheaper. Okay, the dude's like what, 32 years old, 33. He's not that player that he once was, right? So He's gone. Debo sounds like he's coming back. I knew that was going to happen. I've been preaching it. I would want him gone, but I knew that after we restructured his contract at the beginning of the year before it started, he got more guaranteed money, right? So we knew he was going to come back this year for sure. Some people thought he was going to be gone. There was rumors that he was going to be gone. I don't know how you could say that. Again, the dead cap would have been just way too much. As for Williams, it does seem like Trent Williams is coming back, so that's good news as well. I do like Trent. I don't think he's the same player like he used to be. He dealt with some injuries, but I think a few of the Wolfpack that's been around have said that he's still a great player regardless of his play being a little bit regressed. I agree with that. I do. But it's time to find his replacement. It's time to find that guy because he's going to be 37 and he's just going to keep regressing from here on out. And yeah, so hopefully we can fix that situation and just get someone else to fix that. Some guy who can play right tackle, or draft someone in the third, fourth round, someone we can develop truly to take that spot. Because there's gonna be some players. I mean, I have been doing some draft. I've been watching some draft film. I've been studying some draft players and stuff. There are some good linemen that I like personally in the third and fourth round, just from what I saw. Okay, and I don't think that I'm not trying to say like let's just not draft an offensive tackle in the first round. Of course not. But there's some options that I actually enjoy, that I actually like, that I'm looking forward to seeing how good they become. So this is my first time ever diving into draft prospects, but like this badly. I've been watching a shit. I'm going to bed watching film, man. I'm constantly researching players left and right. I'm more than I've ever done. So there will be more. And keep in mind, guys, we will have more mock drafts in the future. We'll talk about more draft stuff, but we're probably not going to do that until after the season, after the Super Bowl. Then we'll really try and dive into it, just because there'll be so much time to really talk about all these players. And I don't want to come off redundant. That's one thing I hate, is doing redundant content. That's like, I said this already like 1,000 times, And so we're probably, me and Paul are going to try to save the draft conversations until after the Super Bowl, and then we'll go from there. And then also keep in mind, I'm going to be going live for the games on Saturday and Sunday. It's practically going to be a marathon of just watching Wild Card Weekend, get excited about that. So it's not just 49er stuff that we'll be jumping into. We're also going to be jumping into the playoffs as well, because we do have some teams that we want to win. So that's what's happening in the future. So just because the 49er season's ending, the content still goes, baby. We still go, baby. All right, we got some comments up in here. Let's get to those. Karen in the house. Grieving totally never takes away. You have to find a place to set some of the heavy bricks down. I agree with that. Jake in the house. Get Staley out of there. Yeah, I don't want Staley. I think Staley needs to go, man. I'm not a big fan of him. Staley is there. Special teams at DC got the hook, 110%. But Staley was more of I think he was just the assistant head coach. I think he was. So we don't know what's going to happen there. Staley hasn't done anything wrong. And in fact, he hasn't done anything at all. He actually helps with nickel. Kyle said that in a press conference. He helps out with nickel. So he does do something. And I didn't like nickel. So let's not do that. Let's not bring him back. Strawberry in the house. Good to see you. Good to see you, man. Hey, welcome. We had quite the press conference. The AV crowd is in shambles, 110%, man. 110%. I love this press conference, by the way. This press conference I felt very humble. I thought they answered the questions really well. I didn't think there was stubbornness whatsoever in this press conference. There does seem to be a different vibe after this season. It does seem like the Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, I said this earlier, but I'm going to say it again. They said they look at everything, right? It does seem like they're actually looking at everything. They didn't say that Nick Sorenson definitively is going to get special teams. They say it's an option. They didn't say Staley's going to get the defensive coordinator. It's an option. They're not saying like this guy's going to get this guy's going to get that right off the bat just because. They're actually going to go out there and do the research. So far, they're doing great things that many 49ers fans agree with. They agree with firing Brian Snyder. They agree with moving on from Nick Sorenson as defensive coordinator. So it's all looking up. It's all looking like some positive vibes. Again, like I said earlier, man, like this offseason already feels good. I feel really good about this team. I feel really good about this. I haven't felt good. I know we just lost. right? I know we didn't go to the playoffs, but I feel really good about the future. I feel like the future's bright with this upcoming season. I haven't felt this relieved. I haven't felt this optimistic, right, in a long time. It's been a while since I felt like, okay, since at the end of 2018, I think, or is probably where I felt like the most. We got Jimmy Garoppolo and everything was looking up from there. There was no more quarterback any controversy, etc. I feel really good. Will that continue? Will Kyle continue to make moves? I'm sure he's going to make moves that I don't agree with, right? That's going to happen. He's going to make moves that you don't agree with. But so far, if the positives are up, it's going to be a balancing act, people. He's going to do things you're not going to like. But let's see how he does and how the outcome comes. I am without a doubt I'm ecstatic about the future of this team. Probably like player, just not that price. Yeah, they probably like him, just not the price. Yeah, I agree with that. Just Hargrave, he's just not that guy anymore. Also, how long has Brian Schneider been around? Because you said it's important for coordinators to develop. I said yes, it does matter if you want to develop a coordinator because they are treated like rookies, right? This was Brian Schneider's second year as special teams coordinator, and after 2 years as a coordinator, that's enough time. He's gone. Nick Sorenson, if he's fired, he's going to be let go. I'm fine with that. If we kept him, fine with it. If we fired him, I'm fine with it too. And we obviously let him go. Well, we demoted him as of now. So if we move on from him, as long as we have an answer and that answer turns out to be better than this guy, I'm fine with it. Right? So it's a give and take. It's kind of like with players too. Sometimes you need to develop them, but sometimes they're just not the answer and you got to move on. Like if you want to keep them or not, why not? Because he was a mid-tier defensive coordinator. He was not the worst, right? So, and I know some people want to say that, but Jake, I think Schneider was there for 3 or 4 years. Can't remember when they replaced Hightower. Hightower was not good either. He was bad. BPA, what is BPA? Strawberry, you right? Kyle said 3 years. What does it stand for? Best player available, 110%. Yo, Monday Night Football live. We'll see. Yeah, definitely. I'm going to try to be live for all the games. I'm going to try to be live for all the games. I'm going to try to, and I'm confident I have made the moves necessary to go live for the games. So I should be going live. Be sure to hit those like button too. Hit that like button. Support your boy, man. Every like helps, dude. Every single one. This ride does not go unless you go. It is nothing without you, man. Nothing without you guys. I have teams I want to lose more than I have teams I want to win. It does seem like that. I think I got like 3. I think I just want the Bucks to go. Okay, Bucks, Commanders, Bills, I guess Ravens. I don't have the animosity that much towards Ravens. I know they beat us, and some Ravens fans were kind of douchebags about it, but like I'm kind of over that now. Like I might get over the Lions thing over time. We'll see. But as of right now, it's Bucks, Commanders, and they're going to eliminate each other at some point this weekend. Bills, I really want to win. I think the number 1 is Bills. They deserve it. I just feel like they deserve a Super Bowl at this point. Anybody but Brock crowd? Yeah. Yes, Jake. Thanks. Karen's comment kind of helped me out there. Anybody but KC, please win. Yeah, that's true. Like that's gonna be the bright spot. Like I understand that Tyler Hilton's one of the best Chiefs fans I know. There are Chiefs fans out there that I know that are actually good people. Out of a lot of dynasties out there that could have had a dynasty that's not the 49ers. I'm not saying I want them to three-peat when I say this, but I'm kind of thankful compared to. I don't know if you guys have, but for me personally, I have not run into the Patriots were bad. The Patriots like fan base were just douchebags. Chiefs though, I rarely run into douchebag Chiefs fans. Rare. It happens, but it's not enough to be like this dynasty has nothing but a fan base talking shit. I don't have that. I don't know if you guys have that happening, but I don't want them to three-peat. I don't want them to win. But I'm thankful that this dynasty is not full of fucking douchebags. Like that's one thing I'm happy about. But I do not want them to win. Any team, I almost would go for the Rams in the Super Bowl. Almost. I almost can't even say it because I just feel like I'm regurgitating and throwing up. I don't care if KC's facing the Rams, Packers, or Eagles. I would rather KC win, says Strawberry. I can't. Oh, there we go. For some reason, I can't put up comments. There we go. I got to fix all this stuff. Jeez. All these banners. Karen says, I like the Lions to win it all. Goff was dumped by McVay, win it all, and shoved it in McVay's face. Goff is good enough. Yeah, I think that'd be cool. I like Goff. Goff has never been really a bad guy, Like, he's never given you a reason to hate the dude. And quarterbacks usually, like, 90% of the time have some sort of ego you kind of like. I'm kind of rooting for AFC no matter who comes out. I hate the AFC teams. Damn, Strawberry. The hate is strong with this one. I feel like if Palpatine said do it, you would do it. Oh, you know what he meant, Jake. You know what he meant. Maybe Allen or Mark could finally win. I'm all for Allen. I want Allen to win. Lamar winning, that'd be cool too. I wouldn't be against that. But like I said, I'm way more. The Ravens have won their Super Bowls recently. The Bills went through 4 losses. I think they kind of deserve. They deserve one, And how a fan base wins their first Super Bowl changes that fan base. Let's be real. Like, there's been some teams, and I'm not gonna say who, but there's been some teams where like you didn't care about the fan base. Yeah, they're a little bit obnoxious, but you're like, yeah, they won the Super Bowl, whatever. But when they won a Super Bowl, everything changed. They became super obnoxious, super annoying, and it's not something you enjoy. How you win matters, and we'll see if the Bills fans can handle winning. Let's see if the Bills fans can handle winning a Super Bowl and still be that fan base we love. We'll see. But as of right now, I definitely have the Lions going there doing it. I've been okay with the Bucs, Commanders, but Bucs defense isn't good enough to get them there. The Commanders have a rookie QB, so no QB has made it to the Super Bowl before. I agree, yeah, too. It's just like unlikely, but if they did it, that'd be great. That'd be great. Karen, you're not really shoving it in McVay's face because he won a Super Bowl. Well, you are kind of, because you're saying like you didn't believe in the guy, and so you got rid of him. He couldn't do it. I mean, he did play bad in that Super Bowl with the Patriots. He did not play good. He missed wide open receivers, threw them too late. I can't remember that touchdown pass. He threw it way late. So if it would be redemption for Jared Goff, 110%. Especially if the Lions play the Rams and beat them and win the Super Bowl, that'd be huge. That'd be huge. Karen, I don't think shoving the Super Bowl's face. They both have succeeded on the other teams. That's true. But it's more redemption because McVay did not believe in him. Pretty much said, like, hey, here's a couple first-round draft picks, and here's a couple first-round draft picks and Jared Goff. When you're doing that, you're pretty much saying that Jared Goff is not good. So there is redemption value there. Josh Allen was voted most overrated by his peers. Yikes. I saw that, but there was how do I put this? It was like 100 and something players. I know what you're talking about. It was like 100 and something players. There are like 2,000 something players in the league, so that's a small percentage of players. So I know what you're talking about, but I don't think that was a good, I don't think that's a good frame of reference. I remember that too. I remember that. Traded Goff away for basically nothing. So yeah, he's saying he wasn't good enough. Exactly. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna bounce. That was the press conference. We went through everything. We've been at this for an hour and 30 minutes, man. I appreciate you guys truly. That was a great press conference. Please like the live, guys. Support the channel. Sub if you haven't subbed already to be part of the Wolf Pack. That's what you guys. That's why I decided to name you. Thanks to Papa J, man. That was a great idea to name you guys Wolf Pack. Because I'm Wolfie, and it kind of works and flows. And I appreciate you guys down to a T, man. This does feel like a family. This does feel like we always have a great conversation. This does feel like that we just, I don't know, man. This is something I never expected, right? And you guys bring it every single time I go live, and I just have the greatest time. Like, this is the greatest escape in the entire world, and I can't wait for this to become an actual living of mine. I can't wait for this to actually be something, because it does seem like it's becoming that. Haven't gotten there yet, but we're gonna keep grinding. We're gonna keep going, and despite my flaws, you guys still support me, and I couldn't be more grateful. So I'm gonna bounce. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much, Papa J. Appreciate you so much. Karen, thank you so much for joining, for supporting the live. Strawberry, thank you so much for being part of this at the very end, man. Appreciate you. Jake, thank you so much, man. Sorry about your Bengals, buddy. But hey, this next year, Joe Burrow's dope, dude. Don't worry. The future's bright for you, man. Just got to fix that defense. Who else we got in here? There was a few other people that was in here. 49ers, Brian, thank you so much for supporting the channel, man. Big deal, dude. Always coming in, man. I appreciate you. Jeff, even though, hey, didn't need all the opinionaries, you just wanted to watch it. Hey, man, I appreciate you anyway. You came in here, supported the channel, you commented, you did your thing. However, I will help you out. You can watch the live without someone there. Like, you can go watch it on David Lombardi's channel. Other channels have it going without anybody talking. It's all over the place. Like, I wasn't the only one advertising this live. So you can feel free to go watch it somewhere else if you want. But I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Who else was in here? The Sport Machine. Good to see you, Sport Machine. Tom, hey, I really like your videos. Thank you for your content. Hey, man. Appreciate you, dude. You're the best, man. Michael, man. Good to see you, man. Thank you for supporting the channel, dude. As always. Good again, like I keep saying, man, good luck to your daughter and her fan base, the Eagles, man. Wish you nothing but the best, dude. That'd be exciting for her and your family if they win the Super Bowl, dude. Pats, man, just be sure to let everyone know to vote for the next team, next all team. We'll see. Again, I just let the people decide because I get a lot of people saying, do Packers, do this team, do this team. I just kind of decided to let you guys do it. You know, like who wants it the most. So be sure to vote in the community tab for the next team. I will post the next team in the community tab a little bit sometime today. I'll post a team. I think it's gonna be Packers, Bills. I think someone said you just said Pats. There was another team. I can't think of who it was, but be sure to put them in the poll if you want your team to do the filter. Those are actually kind of fun. I actually enjoy doing those because it's kind of intense. It's just like, oh my God, am I gonna get it? it's like a small ADHD thing. I don't know what it is, but be sure to vote for your team, man. If you want me to do it, then we'll get to it. And also, when I do it, put in your predictions. Am I gonna get it in 2 days? Am I gonna get 5 days? 9 days? It's a little bit of fun. Who doesn't like fun? And Val in the house. Appreciate you as always. You always pour water in the cup. You're a good vibe, no matter how long you stick around, man. I appreciate you. All right. All love, fam. To everyone who watches this later, if you haven't subbed, please sub. It helps out the channel. We grow together. You become part of this family, part of this wolf pack, and you become part of the conversation. I try to get to all the comments as possible. I don't always get to them, especially when watching a video, but just know that I always look out for you guys. Thank you guys so much. Be part of this conversation, you know? And I'm not one to say you don't know ball or you're a piece of shit for having an opinion on something. I will argue about it. I will get animated about it. I will be passionate about it. But at the end of the day, everyone has an asshole, okay? Everyone has an opinion. It's the same thing. So also, be sure to like the live. Like the live, puts the channel out there, helps the algorithm, helps me grow, and we grow together, all right? And this channel, we do more fun shit. A lot more fun shit in the future. I'm excited, actually. I'm got some plans, but that's not until this channel grows. We'll do more. Be sure to like the live because every single like makes my 49ers heart grow from here to here. All love, fam. All love, Wolfpack. I'll see you next video. Bang, bang, not a gang. Bang, bang, not a